Hi there, this is Jennifer McGuire, and today I have something different. It's not for everyone, but if you have kids that you like to craft with or no kids who enjoy crafting with you, you might like some of the tips that we have in today's video. So my little Lila, who is 7 years old, loves to craft with me, and we decided to make some cards that she's going to sell at a lemonade stand to raise money for a homeless shelter. And then we also decided to make some bookmarks to send to some people that we know are sick. Well, we have some tips to share with you along the way. Lila's going to make a little guest appearance in here, but she is a little too nervous to do a voiceover, so I'm going to be doing the voiceover today. I hope that something in here inspires you to create and ask a child to join with you, because after all, I don't think there's a better hobby for them to get into. Okay, let's start with these picture sentiment bookmarks. So we decided to use the Trinity Stamps narrow card with envelope die set. You can actually get just the pieces that you see here to the right separately, or you can buy them all together. They're designed to make a narrow card, but I'm actually going to use the scalped rectangle to create a border, and then I'm going to use these bookmark pieces to create our bookmarks. So you'll be seeing this die set throughout the video. For our bookmarks, we'll be using the Trinity Stamps Picture Sentiment Stamp Set. Lila was so excited about this one because you can build up different picture sentiments, such as, I'll be praying for you, or I'll be here for you. And there's a bunch that you can build up, by the way. There's also, you could do little hands and make a little clapping noise and put them in a circle for round of applause. You can also put thankful for you, so thankful for you, hey you, or for you. Then there's even I love you, so you can build this up in many different ways. I even like the one that says I believe in you. So there are also the words at the top, so you can have like a key that says what you're trying to say with the picture sentiments. So we decided to put the picture sentiments on the front of our bookmark and the key or the words themselves on the back. When I stamp with my kids, I like to use a MISTI stamping tool. It's much easier to get a good impression with the stamping tool, and it keeps the kids from getting discouraged. They also think it's a pretty cool tool, so it keeps them around longer. So we stamped these with a Copic friendly ink. It's Gina K Amalgam Black ink. And then we did Copic coloring, and Lila's going to do this part here, and I just love how she holds things to the camera, kind of like she's seen me do, which I think is so cute. Well, I know a lot of people are surprised when they see that I let my kids use Copic markers. However, the tip of Copic markers are pretty indestructible compared to other markers, so I find they last longer. Also, I like to teach them how to use them and be careful with them, and that way they learn more. Another thing is they can color all they want, and the paper won't pill up. It stays looking nice. Now, when I taught Lila to use Copic markers, I just taught her to use them to color a solid image. The Copics won't leave lines if you color over it enough, and you don't have to worry about the paper tearing. Well, recently she's wanted to learn how to do a little bit of blending like she sees me do. And what I found really works is I color one of the images, and then she just follows that as a guide with the same colors. So you can see she's going and putting some shadows down towards the bottom of this U. And she just kind of tries to mimic what I do. And that teaches her how to do it on her own. I just think this is a really good hobby for kids, and I'll do anything to keep them in the craft room. Another thing that I like to do is when we go on vacation, I do pre-stamp a bunch of images, and I take a handful of Copics, and it's something that all of the kids and I can do, when we're waiting at the airport or whatever. Okay, so after she colored her little U here, she went ahead and moved on to the heart. So the U was in Copic colors E41 and E42, and here she's using R24 and R39. So she wanted to make the bottom of the heart a little bit darker, so this is the approach she's taking. It's, again, something that I guess she's seen me do a few times, and it's great to see her explore with this. Another reason I like letting her use my Copic markers is if she gets outside of the lines, she can use the colorless blender pen to kind of erase that coloring. Now, I don't mind that it gets outside of the lines, but it's something that she's working hard at doing less of. So it's good that she has that so-called eraser pen. And there she put a little dot of pink on the cheeks of the U. She wanted to show you that up close because I think she's seen me do it a few times. Okay, so after we colored a bunch of bookmarks, it's time to assemble them. She had to leave for vacation Bible school, so I'm finishing them up to share here. I die cut an extra bookmark. Each of my bookmarks will have 2 that are glued together at the top. The reason we do this is I find that you can slide it over the page, and that keeps the bookmark in your book better than just tucking a bookmark into a page. So you'll see how that comes together, but I just put strong adhesive at the top of the bookmark. You could just tie them together, but this keeps them nice and straight. You can also write a personal message on the inside if you want to. Now on the back, we stamp the little key for the picture sentiment, so it's I love you. I like to use Obsidian black ink from Altenew and Gina K comfort blocks. This gives a nice black, crisp image, and the comfort blocks are smooth on the side, and they have lines on them, so you can make sure you're stamping straight. Now for the bookmark, I have this old ribbon here. I'm using my new Tim Holtz scissors. These are the smooth scissors. So he had some out before that were serrated. These have a smooth edge and are perfect for cutting ribbon and fabric and paper. So I'm adding a ribbon to the top, and then I use a thin ribbon to tie a knot around that. I just like the look of that. By the way, these scissors are super sharp, so I'm really careful when Lila uses them. And by the way, I find that having your kids color, especially with the kind of bendable tip of Copic markers, is really good for hand-eye coordination. I found that Lila's handwriting has gotten really good after using the Copic markers so much. Okay, so here are the bookmarks that we've made so far to send to some people that we know could use some encouragement. And you can see how the bookmark has the picture sentiment on the front and the key on the back. And you can slide this over the page of your bookmark and the top will stick out. These are something that you can easily mail in an envelope. You really don't even need a card with it. And it's something nice and different and something that they can have as a keepsake. Especially good for a kid to send to someone. Okay, Lila and I also wanted to make a bunch of cards that she's going to sell at her lemonade stand. She always has some sort of craft she sells, and then she donates the money, and she has been really wanting to use my tiny little embellishments that I have in my collection. Many of them are from Trinity Stamps, and you can either buy them in little baggies or buy them already labeled in containers like these. So they have a huge assortment of little embellishments. They have wood embellishments, little clay ones like the ones you see here, gems, sequins, and more. Well, we're mostly going to use the little clay embellishments today. They're so cute. Also, on many of the cards, we added a little scallop border. Now that border we created with that bookmark die set that I showed you earlier in this video. We die cut this scallop rectangle and cut 2 strips off the side to add onto 2 cards. So sometimes you can look at your dies differently and create border pieces from them. So we created a piece of white cardstock and stamped sentiments along the bottom. We did a few different sentiments and then glued the border peeking out from behind it. This will go onto a 3.5 by 5 inch note card. This is a 4-bar card size, and I'll link to the envelopes we use below. On the bottom, I'm adding a scrap of pattern paper. Lila loves to use scraps, and I thought this card design was perfect for that. We're also adding craft foam behind the top piece, just to give it some dimension. It doesn't take much time, and it really makes the card stand out more. Lila also likes using Gina K Connect glue or any type of liquid glue. It's really a lot easier for the kids to use, and I find I don't go through it as fast as I do when I give her a tape runner. Okay, so on the cards, we added these tiny little clay embellishments. These are from Trinity Stamps. They're super cute, super tiny, so that's why I decided to go with a smaller card size. These also work great in shaker cards. But I found if you do a design like this, a little goes a long way, and with kids, that's really important. So I just put a tiny drop of a strong liquid adhesive down and then pop the little embellishment in place, and it'll stay put. Okay, here is an example that Lila made. I wanted to show you that this is really easy for kids to do. So these are the patchwork hearts. There's a mix of different patterns. So I just poured them on the table so she can choose which ones she wanted to use. She uses a jewel picker, which is what I like to use also, to pick up the little embellishment and put it in place. This is also great for hand-eye coordination for the kids, and she loves doing this. So I was actually assembling the cards, and she was in charge of gluing the little embellishments in place. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes Lila will come in the craft room and just create a card all on her own with lots of stamping and embellishments. But today we had a little job in mind where we wanted to make sure we got these cards and bookmarks done. So we worked together on them. And here she goes again. She's showing all the different things she used. I just think that's so cute. I mean, she might put me out of a job someday. Okay, so let me go through and show you all the different cards that we ended up making. We made a bunch today. On all of the cards, we use the Trinity Stamps Mr. Snailman stamp set to stamp on the matching envelope. So this is great for decorating your envelopes, or you can use it on a card. And it's a small set, so it's got a great price point. We also used on several of the cards this Simon Says Stamp Punny Animals stamp set. Lila loves this one because she can draw an animal and then have a clever sentiment to go with it. And these worked well with many of the little clay pieces we used today. So here's a good example. We used the Trinity Stamps Animal Cracker Mix. It has a bunch of different little animal heads in it, and we thought these little blue bears were the cutest, and it worked well with the You Make Life Bearable sentiment. There are also a few cats in that same mix, and we decided to use those with the Love You Forever sentiment. So in this case, she alternated between the different cat heads. You really can even change the color of these up by using a Copic marker on them. So she actually made some of those white cats pink for a different card. Okay, here are little bears from the same mix, and this one says, To the Berry Best. And she just went through my scrap drawer and picked any that were black and white or gray. I had suggested that to her because it wouldn't be too distracting from those tiny little embellishments. This one says, I love you, and that I love you sentiment is from the picture sentiment stamp set that we used at the beginning of this video. And you can see that cute little scallop border peeking out. Now remember that patchwork heart mix that Lila used earlier? On this one, she used hearts that say love on them. Super cute, and they're in the same mix. So you can imagine you can get a lot of cards out of one of those little embellishment containers. So think about any small embellishments you have that you could do card designs like this. You could use buttons, gems, pearls, beads, anything you have. Now this rainbow of hearts was Lila's idea, and I think it turned out really well. She did a line of glue and then laid the hearts down in rainbow order. Super cute. And the advantage of using a liquid glue is that she could move them around and get them straight. And then she pushed a ruler up against the edge to make sure they ended up straight when they dried. Now for the next couple cards, we use the Trinity Stamps Caffeinated Sentiments. This is one of those sentiment sets where you can mix and match words together to create whatever message you want. This one says happy birthday. I did this one. I had the little stars kind of hanging off the edge of the cardstock to create the border instead of using the scallop piece. Here's the floral one that I showed you earlier. The Thinking About You is from that same Caffeinated Sentiments stamp set that I just showed you. And then we have the line of little flowers above the sentiment. Okay, while Lila was gone, I made one card on my own. This is actually a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. I had to make it bigger for this sentiment, and I love the sentiment. This is going to go to a special friend I have in mind. This is a new stamp set. That sentiment's perfect and goes great with these Trinity Stamp Cinnamon Red Hearts. Look how pretty and shiny those are. Super simple card, doesn't take long to do, but I think the message is perfect. All right, there you have some simple card and bookmark design ideas, ones that are great to do with or without kids. I hope you'll try some of these things. And if you create anything or your kids do, please use hashtag #ShareHandmadeKindness because I'd love to see them. Okay, in the middle are a couple other videos you might like. You can click subscribe up there if you're interested. And then below I have links to all the products that we used today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon and have a wonderful weekend.